here with no nonsense, cause you can't make sense if you don't make sense. A pod with freestyle discussion, poetry and social deconstruction.
Alright, this is Big Burn and
Big Beals.
That's right, this is the No Nonsense Podcast, episode 19, November
13th.
2014. Now, we're gonna go ahead and get you started with a poem. Dollar bills, y'all, that's what I live for, my killer. Skrilla for Rilla, like Ali's paycheck from Thrilla in Manila. Hoarding stacks of cash like a Tony Montana-inspired drug dealer. But I lost my flow, paying for 10 Lambos and enhancing my great-granduncle's girlfriend's bosoms. Feeling depressed, and like Eminem said in Rock Bottom, we see them dollar signs and let the cash blind us. Money will brainwash you and leave your ass mindless. Now, Beals, in light of the lack of economic parity among our social classes, do you think it's time to ditch the currency system and revert back to a bartering system based exclusively on tree bark and rainwater?
I think that that's probably one of the most efficient ways that the economy can really press on. We're seeing a lot of struggle with the lower middle class and the rising interest rates in the text market that really kind of have been deriving from the southern atmosphere's lack of potential children-bearing gifts. So I think by simply just having more bark and water as a bartering trade, I think that we'll see a significant increase in the rise of the middle class.
So you think the middle class will latch on to this bartering system based on these two things? Do you think they need anything else, like possibly, if they agree to maybe, exchange their babies in the maternity ward?
Yeah, baby exchanging has actually been going on. It's been going on for, centuries inside Nebraska in and of itself. And it's an easy way to obtain more children and healthy children. And I think that with the advent of the bartering system, we will see more and more families with more and more children, and less lower income families.
Well, see, because I asked that question because the esteemed politician Robert Orange, 20 years ago, tried to draft a bill, supporting the exchange of babies, and then he is now been exiled from this country and is in political asylum. And I'm just wondering what changed in the political climate to allow for this to be part of our hopefully newly inspired bartering system.
I think it has a lot to do with introductory rates. With new introductory rates being implemented in the market, it really changed the way technology took off. As we can see in the early 2000s, where the modern computer took an absolute nosedive, and what really emerged from that was the standardized test units. And these really help progress forward the notion that there doesn't need to be fiat paper money, but simply trade babies.
Now, some people say these standardized tests are racially biased, but then if you go back and look at no parking zones and how they mix fire with modern graphics cards, in particular NVIDIA graphics cards, one can only postulate that there is no modern universe willing to accept said born interest rate.
You're right there, Ken. And what I want to say is that with the advent of new rates, we can see that the incline of the middle class will see a significant decline. Some Second Slays.
Yeah, some Second Slays is at the forefront of all current community-based, Milky Way-based galaxies.
Right. And so I can ask you with confidence, Burn, do you think that with the introduction of babies more as a bartering tool, do you think that we'll see the pound take after America's dollar and go through more child exchanging?
I think that's going to be developing rapidly here now that the bill has been passed there, Bill. And, and I think what's going to happen is if people are exchanging these three main items, tree bark, rainwater, and babies, what they'll be doing in the maternity ward is making gift baskets. So they'll have the baby holding a little bucket with rainwater and tree bark, and the bucket's just a bonus in that exchange. And, that says a lot about the generosity of the American people. All right. Now that we need to go break to a news musing report.
This just in, Iraqi extremists are infiltrating lower-income public school board meetings with an elitist agenda focusing on the freedom of adult male bonobo primates in southern Uganda. The diminishing supply of red chicken beef is directly correlated to the sudden and detrimental disappearance of the bonobo males as they faithfully migrate northeast towards the Middle East. The bonobos then enter the arena of modern warfare in Iraq and encourage young, lower-income children to enter the war and ask for red meat in return. These Iraqi extremists are encouraging school officials to give a lending hand in the bonobo agenda. There is yet no word from the officials on any decision. Well, that was certainly interesting. I can see how that's really going to change things from now on. Also, to say what we were talking about before with babies, we know that humans are made of 90% water, if not 99% water. So if we were to combine water and a little extra of that magic we call tree bark, we might be able to fabricate our own babies without ever having to go to the lab like we do nowadays.
So do you think the future humans might be more tree bark based in combination with the water? Maybe, it might not be the percentages of water, per human that you described, but maybe more like a 50-50 proposition. 50% tree bark and water.
I think that maybe some new different hybrids could be made throughout the ages, but I think we're still going to go ahead and stick with the all-natural 99% water, or just that 1% bark. That's all we need.
Do you think Hollywood might follow the narrative and start pushing films to the masses about the tree bark narrative?
I would argue that Hollywood already has done that, Bill.
What's your favorite movie with that plot?
And actually, in the main premises behind Titanic, the main antagonist, Hibiscus, was finding a way to channel her inner bark so that when they did finally let go at the end, when Jack let go of his sperm, he did emit new little bits of bark that he had shoved into his urethra earlier that week and was able to implant her with 99% water and 1% bark.
Oh my God, that is so insightful. Thank you for that bark revelation. Well, I guess that's going to be it for the pod today. Beals, can you please leave us with a little poem for our listeners to digest?
When the economy has run out of all of its might, and then the economy has run out of all of its bites, there's one thing it's still gonna do: bark! If it has everything you need, that's right on the mark. All you need is water, all you need is bark! If you have both those things, you can have a baby, not a stork. So, come on, America, let's get some more babies, because in the future, otherwise, we'll be running around like we have rabies.
Thank you, Beals, for that, and this is Burn Beals signing off, No Nonsense Podcast.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Hope you got some insight and a few laughs. That's all for now, folks. Yes, goodbye. Till next time, as long as we don't